Now he suddenly announced that this will definitely be a very big blow to your uncle and your cousin, and it will even bring you a lot of hatred, so you must be very careful in your future actions, be careful and cautious. Warnya said earnestly, Mr. Wade, don't worry, I understand all that you said. Charlie sighed softly and said, it may be the rejuvenation pill, which is too attractive to the old master. Therefore, the old master may not think about this matter. What I am worried about is your personal safety in the future. If someone in the Song family is dissatisfied with your inheritance as patriarch, then they are likely to be against you. Warnya smiled sweetly and said, thank you, Mr. Wade, for your reminder. Don't forget, I also have a magical medicine that you gave me at the beginning. Isn't that magical medicine that has a life-saving effect at critical times? Charlie asked curiously, where did you put that medicine? Warnya blushed and said, the medicine you gave, is always, closed to my body. When it came to storing 4 words next to her, Warnya was already ashamed to not look at Charlie. Before, Warnya hid the pill in the car, but she thought it was too unsafe to put such a valuable thing in the car, so she has kept it close to her body ever since. And because this is a gift from Charlie to her, keeping it close to her will give her a feeling of being cared for by Charlie. Charlie didn't notice the girlish shyness on Warnya's face. He just faintly worried about Warnya's safety from the bottom of his heart. So he opened his mouth and said, by the way, you can help me find a good piece of white jade from Jiqing Tang another day. White jade? Warnya hurriedly asked, Mr. Wade, what kind of white jade do you want? Charlie said calmly, the whitest, purest, and impurity-free white jade. I will make you a talisman by then, and it will keep you safe by wearing it next to your body. Warnya was very excited when she heard that Charlie was going to make a talisman for her. She didn't know what Charlie's amulet was or what kind of effect it had. But she knew that Charlie wanted to make this thing for her, and he wanted to make it himself. The reason that Mr. Wade made it by himself was enough to be grateful. So her eyes were red, and she said gratefully, Mr. Wade, you are so kind to me, I don't know how to repay you. When she said this, Warnya's inner monologue was, if it is possible, I really want to acquiesce by myself, to accompany Mr. Wade in this life, and to serve in front of you throughout this life, to repay you for the kindness. However, in this case, she will be embarrassed to say such a thing for a proud lady of the big family. Charlie was very indifferent to this. Because he himself is a person who values love and righteousness and knows the gratitude. Although Warnya is not his benefactor, she is his friend, and she is a trustworthy and heart-to-heart friend. To such friends, he is naturally full of sincerity. What's more, Charlie always faintly felt that Warnya seemed to have a slightly different meaning to her from ordinary friends. In Charlie's heart, he admired Warnya's personality and Warnya's behavior style. Moreover, he felt that Warnya's fate was similar to her own, both of whom were born well, but her parents died young. But her life was a little better than her own, at least she didn't leave the family and fled to another country. It was just because he admired Warnya's personality and cherished her love, so Charlie wanted to take care of her a little more, and it was a natural feeling in his heart. Warnya deliberately didn't drive the car fast, so that she would have more time to be alone in the car with him. The Song's villa and the Thompson where Charlie lives are separated by a magnificent Yangtze River. So when Warnya drove the car near the river bridge, she suddenly turned to look at Charlie, her eyes full of expectation, and said, Mr. Wade, if you are not in a hurry to go home, can you accompany me to the riverside for a walk? Charlie nodded and said, okay. Warnya said with joy, it's great. I know that there is a place that is very quiet and there are no people around. We can take a walk on the river beach and blow the wind. With that, Warnya drove the car onto a small road along the river. After the car drove out for a kilometer or two, she parked the car on the side of the road and said to Charlie, there is a road to go down here, let's get off here. Charlie nodded, opened the door and walked down. The weather is getting colder now, but for him, it has no effect. Warnya put on a furry coat. Inside was the noble and elegant evening dress that she wore at the birthday party, and she also held a red Hermes handbag in her hand. A cold wind hit her, and her long flowing hair danced with the wind, and a few strands of blue silk were blowing her face, looking quite charming. There is no front or rear here, no people and no cars. Warnya took a deep breath against the wind, and said with a smile, "When I was young, I always liked to be by the river. When I grew up, I got busier and busier and I didn't have time." With that, she said to Charlie, "Mr. Wade, let's go down." Charlie responded and said, "Okay, but this staircase is a bit steep. Be careful when you descend." Warnya shyly stretched out her soft hand and handed it to Charlie, and said softly, "Mr. Wade, can you help me with your heart here? Otherwise, I'm afraid I might fall." In fact, she was not afraid of falling, but wanted to take this opportunity to get closer and closer to Charlie. Charlie saw that this stone step was indeed very long and quite steep, extending from the bank to the river beach. Warnya, a girl, would really slip and fall. The consequences would be disastrous. So he took Warnya's soft jade hand, led her to walk carefully, and walked down the stone steps. At this time, the river beach was also empty, and occasionally a few ships with lights on the river passed by. The rumbling diesel engine made a loud noise, but it didn't feel very noisy on this empty river surface. After arriving on the river beach, Charlie let go of Warnya's hand, facing the cold wind on the surface of the river, smiling and saying, "This place is really good."